last name, right? So I need to add the person name here, giving the phone number. Right now I'm just giving a random number, guys. Click on OK, right? So this person might be a driver also, might be an executive also. Multiple contact person also you can have, right? That will be also option available. You have this plus sign always available, right? Let's say one more person I add, right? Job title, let's say other person was the driver. I'll say this delivery executive, right? This is the same thing which you would have seen in your movers and tracker also, right? Every time you do not contact the driver which is there, right? There will be a designated person in your Agarwal movers and packer, right? That is nothing but their delivery executive altogether, right? And he says, okay, sir, let me give a minute. I'll just track the particular person where the your particular lorry is there, right? We'll track it up, right? So that is also possible, guys. And you can give the number here. Randomly, I'm giving one number. Okay, and you can define multiple people if you want to have, that can be also associated. How does it help me is while creating the purchase order, right? If I want to track my particular order, right, through your carriers, right, it becomes easy, right? This information will be visible to me, right? And I can call this person if I'm facing any issue. Also, if you see, right, what oracles follow the concept is, now this is a new concept in Oracle Fusion which was not there in cloud. Let's say on your purchase order screen, if you want to give a tracking website altogether, right? Let's say this company, right, let's say your any company, right? Let's say Amazon, right, is doing an implementation on Oracle Fusion, right? They have manufacturer supplier which is there, right? But for your transporting of good, they follow Blue Dart. They confirm with your DHL which is there, right? Now, if you see Blue Dart and DHL companies are only specific to couriers or carriers which are there, right? They are not producing anything. They are just a shipping company altogether. Today, if I want to transport a good, what I can do is I can directly go to DHL, Blue Dart, D2DC, right? And transportation of my good can happen, right? So here also same thing can happen. It may happen that company might use third party, right? Instead of having the shipment from their end, they can use third party, which will handle their all shipment. Let's say I am running a manufacturing plant, right? I am Tata Motors altogether. Now, if I want to give the cars or bikes to multiple dealers which are there, right? What I can do is I can use third party, right? I can have a deal with, let's say Shreyas is running one company. I can have a deal with him that, okay, my transportation will be taken care by you, right? Instead of I am handling the transportation, my other company will be handling the transportation. Also, you can follow in the market, Porter is there, very famous company, right? D2DC, Blue Dart, right? You can have a deal with them also. If you see right now, this is very common, right? We have VFX Global which is there. At the same time, many visa companies, right, they already have a deal with Blue Dart and D2DC, right? What they do is, if they have to send out, obviously once your visa has been confirmed, you get the password back to your home, right? They have a deal with Blue Dart, D2DC, right? Okay, you will be the company which will be responsible for your complete getting this item paid to your corresponding person which is there. Point to note which is happening, right? You can have your third party incorporation also in Oracle Fusion. This happens through your inbound tracking rule, right? Click on this. Now, let's say if my client is using Blue Dart, right? On my screen, I want to give him the Blue Dart tracking screen which is there, right? If you go to Blue Dart screen which is there, Blue Dart tracking, right? Let's say, right, my client is using Oracle Fusion, but for transportation purpose, right, they are dependent upon Blue Dart or DHL, right? So obviously, while giving the purchase order, right, my client might be leading altogether that, okay, Blue Dart link should be available so that they can track it, right? This can be possible in Oracle Fusion. If you see, whenever you give this link, right, you can just type the waybill number and get your track of an order, where it is right now. It is in Pune right now. It's in, let's say, Mumbai, right? And it will be coming to me after 2 hours, 3 hours. I can get the complete details here, guys. Same thing can be done here also. So you have this link available, Blue Dart link, which is there. All you need to do is, right, you see this plus sign which is there. You can incorporate your external website link also in your purchase order. That is also possible, guys, right? So external link, I'll just give the link here. Name first, Blue Dart link. Let's give a specific name, Blue Dart tracking link, URL. Do remember, if you talk little bit in technical term, this will be more of a get method. That means I'll be getting the detail, fetching the detail. I'll never be posting a detail, correct? And click on OK. So this link will be also visible to you, right? So when you create the purchase order, this link will be directly available, right? And this is also an option available. Do mention this in your interview, guys. This will throw a very good impression on your corresponding interviewer, because this is a new concept which has been introduced only from 2020 altogether, right? Earlier, this concept was not there. So make sure you mention this type of statement. If someone is asking in your procurement configuration interviews, right? Okay, what is carrier? And mention this, right? Now this feature is available. This shows that the person has worked in Oracle Cloud. He's aware about the thing. Okay. So this type of points in other terminology also, if you see, right, I will be mentioning this one, right? Contact person, right? Mention it up, right? Contact person was not at all available in EBS, and right now it's not available in SAP also, right? It's a new feature of Oracle, right? Here is allowing to have configured 20, 30 contacts also, right? And this becomes very much helpful while creating the purchase order. Do mention this statement, guys, in your interview. And this is how you define your carriers in the system, correct? Multiple carriers also you can define, no issue. I just showed you one, right? So once your carrier is defined, right? Now the next step will be, what will be the next step is to give your FOB altogether, right? Now let's understand what is FOB and freight term which is there. And let me write down here also. So payment term done, procurement agent done, carrier done. Next comes your freight terms, which is there, right? Now, do remember, freight terms also holds a very key significance while configuration of your purchase, while creating of your purchase order requisition. Now here it will be there. You see this freight term, right? The freight term and FOB are also your lookup, right? It's very commonly used all together. Let's first understand the definition, right? Even Oracle is also giving you a perfect definition here itself, right? Terms specify which party, buyer or seller, pays for the shipment and loading cost altogether, right? So here freight term will decide, right? It will be visible on your corresponding purchase order, who is paying the money for the shipment and loading costs altogether, right? Very common thing, right? In your Amazon, right? Whenever the delivery executive comes to your house, right? He never asks you extra money for the particular delivery charges which is there. Never it will happen. If I order a food on Swiggy, Zomato, it will never happen that I am asked extra money when the order is delivered to me. No, because delivery charges are pre-included. It never happens that the runtime the charges are being included into that, right? Very common thing. So here on your purchase order page, freight term will decide who is paying the money, right? First thing is that, right? Is it buyer who is paying the money, or is it your supplier which is paying the money altogether? Let's say I'm asking 20 chairs altogether, right? Now I went to this supplier, okay, give me 20 chairs. Now what he's saying, sir, cost of 20 chair is this much, but shipping charges will be required this much altogether. Let's say he's asking 20,000. Let's say just an example, right? 2,000 will be the shipping charges which will be there. Now what that supplier is saying is, right, sir, do you want to pre-include it up, or you want to do the payment at your end? That is also possible for me, right? So if I say that no, pre-include it up and do me the payment, do me the delivery altogether. In that case, what is happening is, whenever the goods are coming to me, right, 2,000 shipping charges have been already included, pre-included. But if I say to the supplier, no, right, 18,000 I'll pay to you, remaining 2,000 which are there, right, which are the shipping charges, when the item gets delivered to me, I'll pay the money altogether. So this is a place where it will be specifying which party, which buyer, who's the person, right, who will be paying the money. Some case it may happen that the buyer is paying the money. Some case it may happen that vendor is paying the money altogether. The supplier is paying the money, correct? So it depends altogether. Also, how you want your corresponding payment to happen, right? Will it be, if you see right now, what happens is, right, you or Amazon, Flipkart gives you multiple options. Cash on delivery is there, right? Prepayment is also an option available, right? And here you can decide what is your freight term which will be used, correct? Now here, let's say I define it in this way. One freight term I'll define as paid. That means supplier is paying the money altogether, correct? 01/01 1959, right? This start date is nothing but when you want your lookup to be visible, right? That's why I'm giving very much older date so that it's visible all the time. Supplier pays the shipping charge. So you can define it up, right? And this will be visible altogether. So when you are using this freight term, right, it's by obvious that supplier will be the paying the money for the shipping charges, which is there, correct? And save and close. Multiple companies, multiple culture might be there, right? Some might be calling it as vendor paying the money. Some might be calling manufacturer paying the money. Accordingly, it can run, guys, right? And then comes your FOB, which is there, right? Now here also we'll study the definition first. See this. Terms specify at which point the responsibility of the goods being shipped is transferred from seller to the buyer, right? This is very common thing. It is just like your order statuses which happen, right? Let's take an example, right? Right now, if you order some food on Swiggy or Zomato, there are different statuses which you see, right? First status which will be coming is, right, food is being booked, right? Our delivery executive is at the hotel location which is there, right? Food is being prepared, right? Then what happens is your food has been picked, right? The delivery executive is on the way to deliver the good, right? Or sorry, deliver the food which is there. And the final order which comes, final status which comes into is, right, order is delivered, right? After that, once the status is order is delivered, right, then the responsibility of that particular delivery executive has been finished altogether, because he has given you the item altogether, right? Then there's no responsibility on this, right? That's the reason, right? His responsibility is only to give you the item altogether, right? After a point, his responsibility has been completely vanished out, right? So this is also showing when is the responsibility being transferred altogether. If you see, different company, different culture which is there, right? If you go to your Uber and Ola, right, what happens is, right, driver is on the way, right? These are the status which you see, right? Your cab has been booked altogether. The driver will be reaching in 10 minutes. You get a complete timeline altogether, right? Your ride has got started, your ride has got finished, right? Payment of this much has to be done. These are nothing but your corresponding custom statuses which are there, right? So on your purchase order also, whenever you are getting the item altogether, right, what is the final code, what is the current code of your purchase order which is there, what is your status which will be there, right? That becomes very much important. So let's take an example. I follow one thing. Let's configure it here. I say that my company follows a culture as POD, right? That means purchase order deliver. Okay. So it's custom altogether, right? Every company can have their own culture, right? There's no hard coding that every company will follow this status only, right? If you compare Uber and your Swiggy also, right? Same type of brand, they are also using the same type of order itself, right? They are receiving the order, right? Fulfilling the order, right? Point to notice, right? They have different culture altogether, right? Let's say tomorrow I start my one application, right? You should have seen right now also Zomato follows different order status culture, right? Swiggy follow different type of order status culture, right? I am starting my own company of delivery application, right? I follow different type of order status culture, right? That can happen, correct? So it's up to the company, right? So if I say here, let's say, what was this POD which was there, no? Right? Payment, as just say the culture of payment of order, or we can say it as purchase order delivered. So your culture, which is there, right? How you want to have it. And you can click on save and close. So this is how you define your FOB in the system, guys, right? So we studied many setups today: FOB, freight term, payment term, procurement agent. Let's study one more which is there, which comes the most important one of your is the document numbering, right? Every purchase order, every agreement, every requisition will have a document numbering, right? There will be a number associated with this, right? Just how your sales order happens, right? This is same thing which you see in your Swiggy and Zomato also, right? Whenever that Swiggy boy reaches to a hotel, right, he will have an order number which is there, right? And he shows that order number to the hotel owner, right? Okay, this is the order which I require, right? So this is nothing but your number which is associated all together, right? That is nothing but your sales order. But every purchase order, every requisition, or every agreement which is getting created in the system, right, will be having a corresponding number associated, right? This is just like I am taking home loan from SBI, Shreyas is also taking home loan from SBI. Every requirement is same, but obviously my agreement number will be different, his agreement number will be different, right? If you're registering your car also, right, after purchasing, right, every number will be different, right? It will be a unique number which will be associated, correct? Now point to note here is, right, every request, every agreement, right, every purchase order will have a unique number associated, right? So this is a place where you set specify what is a document numbering which will be followed, correct? It can happen that one view will have different document numbering, other view will have different document numbering. Let's say for Algeria, I follow A1001 document numbering, right? For your corresponding Australian business unit, I follow AU001, right? Accordingly, I can give, right? And this is getting satisfied under your manage document numbering. Click on this task which is there. Now, ideally, a good nomenclature is this. You can suggest to your client also. Now, do remember this is just a suggestion, guys, right? It's not like that you want your client to follow. Generally, what happens is if a client goes for an implementation project, that means they are going from EBS to cloud, right? They already have a number in culture which is there, right? And they do not want to alter it up, right? If they are following a culture, what they want is in cloud also same culture should follow. But sometimes what happens is client takes suggestion from us. They ask that, okay, what will be your suggestion? So good suggestion is, guys, is your requisition should always start with R, right? Right? Every requisition should start with requisition R. Then you can give the business unit name, right? And then follow some sequential culture. Let's say 001, 002 accordingly, which is there, right? So let's say if I'm creating a requisition for Australian business unit, right? So I can give it in this way, 000 1, which is there, right? Now if you see, this is a good nomenclature. By the requisition number itself I can understand, okay, this is R means this is a requisition, EU means it's related to Australian business unit, and this is a number 001. The next particular requisition will be created 002, 003, 004. This will continue all together, right? Similarly for agreement you can suggest, right? Do remember, guys, this is just a suggestion which you can give to your client if they ask you altogether, right? But generally what happens is clients already have their nomenclature, right? So ideally they will also suggest to go with same nomenclature. But if they ask you that, okay, what will be your preference, right? So for your agreement you can give this nomenclature. So let's say if I'm creating agreement for Singapore business unit, right? SI, just a random thing, guys, right? This thing. For purchase order, a good nomenclature which is followed is PO plus this thing, right? Also do remember, guys, this is something up to you. 001, 002, if you want to have different culture, right? That is up to you, right? How you want to have it up.
Hi, Walun. Hi.
Yeah, so connect, go
Hi.
ahead.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. I need some. I need to ask you a questions.
yeah, tell me.
That your in your pen requisition agreement and purchase order, you said PO and business unit. So I
Mhm.
concern about if we change in ledger level, is it can be or not?
At ledger level, if you are changing the BU name, correct, afterwards you are changing or before the transaction you are changing?
Mm-hmm.
No, you are changing the BU name after the transaction or before the transaction. If before the transaction, BU name changes will be definitely altogether reflected altogether. But if transaction has been started, only the new transaction which are there, right, that will only show you the new naming culture altogether. That's a clear concept altogether. But here you will be configuring it up, right? So this is not related to your ledger configuration, right? The BU name which you have in your ledger, that is separate, right? Here you will be configuring it that separately. So if you are changing the BU name there, will not automatically change the name here, Sukanya. That will not happen. Getting my point, right? So you have to come here to the screen and make the changes here also. It's not like ledger name
And
change will directly change it here. Okay.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
in purchase order, we set by in business unit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can do that, right?
Yeah, you'll definitely have this, no?
Yes. In case
Mm-hmm.
in many business unit,
Mm-hmm.
and we can spell it in I mean in business unit, right?
You can do it. It's just like I'm creating this for one example I gave you. For Singapore business unit, this should be the number. Now it can happen for India business unit. You can follow this culture. Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
So different unit, different culture. It's dependent altogether, right? You can have that. Okay, agreement number for this business unit should be this. For this business unit, it should be this one, right? So different business unit can have different document numbering culture. For sure, possible.
Okay. And in sample in ASI and AIN that you sample in the data,
Mhm.
in the same ledger but in different BU, it can be
Ah,
right.
Possible. For sure, possible. That is also possible.
Okay,
Correct.
thank you.
No worries. So for your purchase order, guys, what you can follow a culture is, right? PO plus business unit accordingly, right? You can give it up, correct? Do remember, right? Once again, I iterate, guys, this is just a suggestion which you can give your client, right? Up to the customer, how they want to have your corresponding nomenclatures. So all your negotiations should start with N, then your business unit and this thing, right? So it's just a suggestion, guys. Once again, I iterate, okay? And this is your corresponding culture, right? So requisition should be R, agreement should be A, purchase order should be PO, negotiation should be N. Similarly, you can have your qualification also, which start with Q, right? Which is nothing but your supplier qualification, Q. And there's one more, which is there, which is your assessment, which is there. We'll study them all together, right? But first, right, understanding the nomenclature which will be follow. So assessment is nothing but assessment of your supplier, which is there. Okay, how good is the supplier? So you can send out the question to them, assess this particular supplier. And this generally we started with AS, guys, to remember that, right? Because if you give it the same naming culture as A, right, it will be alterating with your agreement, right? So assessment always has a culture of AS altogether, correct? Now, how do we configure it in the system? Let's check it out. I'll come back to the screen. You see this manage purchase document numbering. Click on this, right? Now, all you need to do is click on this plus sign, right? Now here, what happens is what numbering you want to give, right? If you see already right now, there are some numbering being given. And if you see, it's are always specific to your BU, which is there, right? So if you see every entity which is there, let's say if I want to give negotiation numbering, right? What is the BU negotiation numbering? Let's say if I want to give it for Australian business unit, right? I want to follow this. I think this combination is already existing, right? Let's follow for some other business unit. Let me just check. This is also there, right? So basically what I'm doing here is, right, for negotiation, respective to a particular BU, what should be my corresponding prefix should be used, right? So here, let's say I'll go for any random BU right now, correct? Now for this particular BU, I want to have a culture as N, then the business unit name A, YY, little bit of 3 character, right? If you give complete, it will be a bigger name altogether for negotiation, right? Starting number should be, right, 10001, right? So if you see, a preview option will be also coming it up, right? So whenever I'll be creating a negotiation for this particular business unit, right? The first which will be there is 001. This will be the culture which will be followed. Next will be 0203. This will be there, right? Generally, we never give the minimum digit, guys, right? Because what will happen is, let's say, right, if you are giving 1001, some stage it will be getting crossed, right, by 10 digit also. 11th digit might come altogether, right? So it's better not to give the minimum digit, right? If you want to suffix something also, let's say by S you want to suffix it up, right? So at the end S will be coming, but that's also not a good practice, right? But some clients have a suggestion, they go from your corresponding right to left altogether. Generally how we study the things is left to right, right? If I type here right now, right, I'll be typing always left to right, but some clients have a suggestion, they go from right to left altogether. In such cases, right, their requirement comes in this way. Control C.
Hi, Varun.
Yeah, just give me a minute, Sukanya, right? So
Okay.
here, if
But do you have any limit of the number?
nothing is there, anything you can have, there's no limit altogether. Lakhs also you can give, but generally we give it a fix of 5 to 6 digit. Reason is, right, if you make a 9 digit 10 digit number, right, does not make any key significance, right? So minimum altogether, right, you can start it up. That's why it is an option space which is available to you. Getting my point, right, Sukanya? Yeah.
Yeah,
There's no,
and how many number? How
up to
many? I
you.
mean, the data in
No restriction.
no.
No restriction. Up to you.
Okay.
Infinite it can be there. Okay.
Yes, yes. Thank you.
No worries. So here, if you see, this is a reverse culture which is there, right? At the preview also, you can check suffixes your negotiation and the corresponding code for your business unit, then 10. But generally, we never follow this culture, right? Because this is little bit confusing. Because let's say, right, when you're reporting this particular order, right, for reporting purpose, when you're creating the report out of it, your basic funda will be to go from left to right, correct? And then that way, what happens is prefix is a better option, right? So never suggest suffix to a client, but Oracle provides you an option. Better option is prefix and next number which is there, correct? And this way, anything which you want to configure, right, whether it's agreement, assessment, purchase order, right, you can do it up. Now here there's a very important thing, guys, which comes in your interviews also, right? The most important is, right, if you see here right now, if you remember, initially I taught you there are two types of agreement: BPA, blanket purchase agreement, contract purchase agreement. But here, if you see, right, Oracle is providing only one option which is there, right, for agreement perspective. Reason behind that is, you see this purchase agreement, there's only one option which is provided by Oracle. Now, a very important question which comes in an interview also, why there's no separate document numbering for your BPA and separate document numbering for CPA, contract purchase agreement. Now, what does Oracle say here is, right, because it treats both the agreement, right, in a single slide altogether, right? Agreements will be treated in a single go, whether it's your purchase agreement related to BPA, whether it's a purchase agreement related to your CPA, which is there, right? They will treat it as one, right? But let's say if my client has a suggestion, no, no, I want separate document numbering for BPA, separate document numbering for CPA, then FBDI comes as a solution for us, right? Do remember, right? Very important question which comes in your certification examination also, as well as in your interview also, right? Is there any separate document numbering for BPA and separate document numbering for CPA? Answer is no. There's no separate document numbering in Oracle Fusion for BPA and CPA. It is always one numbering which is there related to your agreement, right? Here, if you see, there's no classification, separate numbering for CPA, separate number for BPA, right? This is your first answer. Second question, if your interviewer asks you, right, is it possible to give the separate numbering for CPA and separate numbering for BPA? Yes, it's possible. It's only possible through your FBDA, right? The file upload which will be there. Manual creation and your setup cannot configure separate numbering for your BPA CPA. Do remember, guys, 100% accept this question which will be coming in your interviews, right? Do remember that, right? This is the most important thing, right? And once you have given the document numbering, right, all you need to do is click on save and close. And this is how you create your document numbering in the system, right? So we studied couple of setup, guys, 6 to 7 status setups which